Our first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for flipping out after being told it was my dad's wedding day while we were driving to it? My parents are divorced and have shared custody. My parents do not get along with each other at all. They're always trying to get back at each other. And while my mom is more vocal with her pettiness, I can clearly see the BS my dad pulls, even though he tries to hide it. I got picked up for my week with my dad and he says that we are going to his friend's house an hour away for a surprise party. I fell asleep and found us at an event hall. My dad's smiling and says, "Surprise! It's my wedding." And then he says that me and his wife's daughter are bridesmaids. He tells me to hurry inside and get ready because the wedding starts in 30 minutes. I lost my crap. His wife's daughter and everyone else in our family knew for months. But I was kept in the dark because apparently he was so sure that my mom would hear about it and create drama. I felt extremely betrayed and lashed out at my dad horribly. I was crying and said some harsh things. I was forced into the back room and told by my aunt that I was being a brat and to put on the dress. I put the dress on, which was a size too small and couldn't even zip up. At this point, I threatened to call the police if I wasn't taken back to my mom's immediately. My dad finally agreed to let me go back home. The only people available to drive were my dad and two of his friends, who were random men I didn't know. There was no way in hell I was going with them. My dad gave up and drove me back. This was 45 minutes after the ceremony time. By the time he got me home and went back to his wedding, it was almost 3 hours past the wedding time. Most of the people had left, and I was told that he had to marry his wife at the courts a week later. All this happened in January and my relationship with my dad is strained, and my previously good relationship with his wife and her daughter is now non-existent. My dad did apologize several times, but I feel like all our relationships are messed up now. Her daughter messaged me and called me a bunch of names that my mom found out about. My mom then got her suspended from school. So, I don't even want to be in my dad's house anymore. Am I the a-hole for how I acted? I feel bad that his wife had her wedding ruined. Now for the top comments of this post. Not the a-hole. My dad's smiling and says, "Surprise, it's my wedding." And then he says that me and his wife's daughter are bridesmaids. There are two reasons I can think of that he'd do this, and I think it's obvious which of the two is the more likely. One, he somehow thought this would be a happy surprise for you, like finding out you're at Disney World or something. Two, he knew that you wouldn't want to participate in his wedding, but your absence would make him look bad. So he ambushed you, thinking that there's no way you'd be able to say no and put on the spot. I feel like all our relationships are messed up now. I hate to say it, but if your dad thought that what he did was in any way reasonable, or even worse, he knew that it was unreasonable and did it anyway, then your relationship was already messed up, and you just didn't know it yet. At any rate, your dad put you in an uncomfortable situation that you never should have been in, and he's responsible for the fallout. A surprise wedding is never a good idea. Surprising your teenage kids and expecting them to be in the wedding goes down in history as one of the worst ideas of all time. Not the a-hole, Opie. Not the a-hole. Holy hell! They surprised you with zero time to process a life-changing event that will drastically alter the future of your family as you know it, and told you to get over it and smile. This is not okay. I hope they have offered to pay for therapy. I would start solo and move to family when you feel safe enough to process emotions in front of them again, which may be a long time. Am I seriously the only one who thinks the mom is also an a-hole? Opie said that the dad hid the wedding from her because he was afraid the mother would find out and cause drama. Of course, that doesn't excuse what he did, but if the mom is so bad that the dad is worried she would ruin his wedding day, that means the mom is the problem, right? Either way, not the a-hole. But I don't think the dad is a monster. I just think the mom is bitter. Not the a-hole. The sheer level of arrogance of your father to spring this on you and expect you to be happy. I'm glad your mom has your back. You should talk to her about amending custody if you so not want to go back to your dad's. Mom doesn't sound like a treat either. She's just as much of an a-hole for creating unnecessary drama, leading the father try this unwise action. Now for the second story. Am I the a-hole for telling my cousin's fiancé that her nephew is actually her child? Some context. I live in a country where marriage is a gigantic aspect of one's life. If you have a child out of wedlock, then your life is pretty much over, especially if you're a woman. I have a cousin. I used to really like her as a child, but she grew up to be very scummy and intolerable. Long story short, she's a homewrecker, gold digger, and does these, which can get your entire family in jail because it's extremely illegal here. Rehab has not worked. She also has a child out of wedlock, 5 years old. It has been a lot of effort in our family to help her raise her child, so when she said she found a man, we were all very happy. Her man turned out to be one of the most intelligent, kindest, and respectful people I have ever met in my entire life. He is organized, structured, educated, etc. The complete opposite of my cousin. Well, the pandemic has forced all of my family to be in very close quarters with one another, and I got a big glimpse into my cousin and her fiancé's relationship, and it is not healthy at all. Not at all. Nope. She manages to put on a front most of the time, but there are other times where she's extremely manipulative and abusive to him. She calls him names, tells him he needs to make more money, judges his decisions, is insanely jealous of every woman he hangs around, including his actual sister, etc., etc. She's done these in his house, and she's also lied to him and says that her son is actually her nephew. She told him that she wants to bring her nephew with them when they get married, but it's not a deal breaker. Really? Your child isn't a freaking deal breaker? So, I've actually just so happened to see this type of situation play out in real life. One of my uncles, who used to be extremely pristine and strict, married a woman who, well, she wasn't nice. Divorce isn't really a thing in my region, so he was stuck with her, spiraled into an alcohol addiction, and was never the same afterwards. I don't know if my cousin's fiancé would have ever went to that level, but I didn't want him to freaking ruin his life marrying my cousin. I told him that I was concerned about their relationship. He just said that he's working on it. I also told my cousin to tone her crap down, but she blew up in my face for it. Months and months passed. Everything stayed the same. I could see her fiancé growing miserable, but the wedding date was nearing. One day, while we were having lunch, I just let it slip that my cousin's nephew is actually her son. I guess manipulation and abuse wasn't enough to steer him away, but revealing to him that his fiancé had a son out of wedlock was enough. And he left soon after. My cousin was, of course, extremely pissed, but I told her that she shouldn't have hid her son in the first place, and she shouldn't have treated him like crap. My entire family is fuming at me now though. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your cousin sounds awful. You probably saved the guy from a lifetime of misery. Agreed, 100% not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, but please keep an eye out for her son. She seems like the type of person who'd take it out on her kid. Not the a-hole. If he found out later, it would have been a lot more drama. Right, sounds like the poor guy would be stuck putting up with her BS forever if we take example from the uncle. Cousin sounds insufferable. Family is just upset that they have to continue supporting her. Definitely not the a-hole. Exactly. It's crazy to me how nobody told the poor guy the truth until Opie made a slip. This was definitely an escape route for the family to not deal with the sister, and Opie ruined the plan. The family is angry because they'll have to spend more time with a lunatic. Not the a-hole. If divorce were acceptable and he was the kind to stand up for himself, then I would have said to stay out of it. But if being with her will really permanently ruin his life, then you did the right thing. Edit. Okay, people are replying to this saying if the tables were turned, it would be different. I am a victim of emotional abuse and manipulation by a narcissistic piece of absolute ish. I am a woman. I would still not get involved if the woman had a chance to leave. Why? Because I know personally that you need to realize yourself what situation you are in, so that you don't get into that situation again. Many people tried to help me, and it only drew me closer to him. I was suicidal, miserable, and my self-esteem was in the crapper. In my relationship now, I purposefully chose someone who was not like that, and I put a lot of effort into making sure our relationship is not like that. I know couples who are worse than Opie's cousin. People have tried to get involved, and now they've been married for decades, miserable, always tearing each other down. They've gotten divorced, and ended up with different people who were just as bad. Until they learn themselves, they will keep choosing the wrong person. For the guy in Opie's story, if the line was the kid and not the D's, the verbal abuse, or the manipulation, he probably didn't learn and will find someone just like the cousin and she won't be able to help him then. The line is physical abuse, and if the person is in imminent danger, then obviously it needs to end. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents to F off and stop calling my girlfriend my sister? I, 18 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 17 female, for 3 years now. My mom and her dad got married, and we live together. We were dating before our parents were, yet our parents have told us it's inappropriate for step-siblings to date. We can't show any affection in public, or our parents will ground us. We can't be in our rooms alone, or ever be home alone. It's so freaking infuriating. My parents also make it worse by saying things like, "Take this over to your sister," or "How are you and your sister feeling?" I got so sick of this. I hugged my girlfriend, and my mom broke it up and said there was too much touching. And I just lost my crap and yelled, "F you! I'm so sick of your crap. She's my girlfriend, much longer than you've married Sam. I will continue to date Jessica whether or not you approve. You can't decide what I do. F you." And I left the house, pulling Jessica out with me. She said I was unnecessarily rude to my mom. I could see my mom crying through the window. We came back several hours later, and my mom and Sam were there to give us a talk. They had a discussion and told us about how we need to stop being entitled and accept the fact we are siblings now, and we have to behave appropriately. I told them they could go F themselves and left. Jessica followed me into my room. I locked the door and ignored them as they knocked on the door and were telling me to come out. They give up after a bit. Freaking hell, I want to move out. Now for the top comments of this post. Not the a-hole. Your parents are loons and are throwing a temper tantrum because they want to create a fantasy world. Even if you weren't dating, them getting married wouldn't magically turn Jessica into your sister. Yep, Opie got there first, so the parents should be the ones apologizing for making things so weird. Both parents are being a-holes, and this is one of the few posts where I actually approve of Opie yelling at his mom. She more than deserved it. Not the a-hole. This is all kind of weird, but you were dating first. Your parents are being odd about this. Maybe you should move out as soon as possible. If this is even true, then it's super freaky. The time to talk over family boundaries would definitely have been before your respective parents were married/cohabitating. I can't even say that it's a good idea for them to have started dating at all. What happens if you break up? They've just imposed social instincts upon you. I don't even know where to begin. Not the a-hole, I guess? Talk about inappropriate relationships. I mean, what parent decides is a good idea to shack up with the dad of their son's girlfriend? They're the grown adults here. The brain finished developing at 25. Don't at me with that 18 legal age BS. They should have known better than to put their kids through that. This reminds me of a previous post where a pair of parents got married to try and make their kids break up. Were these people really never taught about boundaries? Not the a-hole. When they say to bring something to your sister, just say, "Who? I don't have a sister." And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.